A well-respected major player in the crypto space is telling banks to get into this coin. And no, it's not XRP. We'll talk price action of that coin and XRP because we're battling the $3 mark again. We've got a major stablecoin launch that you need to hear about. Recession odds, oh, they're increasing, which isn't good for crypto. We'll talk price action and a sad announcement for those of you that have been following the channel for a while. Stick around to the end. I've got something that's, yeah, pretty sad.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Now, the crypto market cap as a whole is pulled back, but the altcoin season index is still holding strong at 70 out of 100. Volume is upticking this morning. Happy Monday to you all at 160 billion over the last 24 hours. Yes, BTC is sliding while the rest of the alts seem to be doing better than BTC. Hence the score of 70 out of 100. Now, before we get into the crypto news, like the major competition for XRP and the major player that's calling for banks to get into this other crypto, your comments come first. And yes, sad announcement at the end. Reverend Funky starts us off and says, bulimia burger. That's brilliant. Yeah, it's worse than a nothing burger. It makes you lose calories. I think of a few people might need to start eating those real soon. CCBs. Oh my God, I love you. Reverend Funky comes to us from the north, Canada. Sam Slamstrong. So I'm going to do to my wife tonight if she answers my snap. She's really not a good snap responder. It's like a black hole of snaps. I snap her pretty much all day long. Yeah, I get a few pics back here and there, but they're not naughty pics. They're normal pics. Oh, Klaus, by the way, can you start the laundry? I forgot this morning. Damn it, that's the response I get. Sam says, happy Sunday, Klaus. Well, happy Monday to you. Just over here waiting for our last buy in the year when JP pauses. The odds are still right there that JP is going to cut. In fact, if we go to the latest odds from the CME group, we can see exactly that. In 2 days and in 5 hours, 100% chance that he's going to cut. 96% chance that it's going to be 25 basis points. 4% chance that we're going to get a big 50. Hyperliquid community chooses native markets to issue their USDH stablecoin. Yeah, so now Hyperliquid wants to get into the stablecoin action, and this is exactly what I've been telling you. You get regs, and what happens? Juice follows. Yeah, we got the Genius Act a while ago, and now players are still launching stablecoin products. So when we get the altcoin regs, you're going to have players launching sorts of altcoin goodiness for months on end. Native Markets won Hyperliquid's validator vote to issue the USDH stablecoin, beating out established competitors like Paxos and Frax. The proposal splits the reserve yield between hype buybacks and ecosystem growth. While critics flag validator concentration, supporters called the result a win for Hyperliquid's community. Native Markets has been awarded the USDH ticker following a validator-led governance vote. So the decision confirmed by Native Markets co-founder Max Fige on September 14th caps a 9-day process that drew multiple heavyweight competitors like Paxos Frax, demonstrating the stakes of capturing Hyperliquid's USDH. I like this. Why? Because they actually had the community vote on where it should go. I think that's important. Now, were any of our favorite chains selected here? No. But, again, this is showing you that what? You make regs, you create regs, people are going to launch juice. And by the way, Hyperliquid got popular because of what? James Wynn and his degen trading. Crypto funds post 3.3 billion in weekly inflows, pushing the assets under management to nearly $240 billion. So yes, we're still seeing money flow in, even though the crypto market is kind of stalling without regs and stalling waiting for Jerome Powell. Global market crypto investment products managed by asset managers such as BlackRock, Bitwise, and Fidelity have returned to net inflows, 3.3 billion last week after the previous week's almost $350 million outflow. Weaker than expected U.S. macroeconomic data helped the sentiment to recover, which is actually good. Think about it. We got some weak jobs reports. We had some weak expectations, and the crypto market was like, oh, we're cool with that. We're going to rally anyways. BTC and ETH saw respective gains around 2.5% and 5% for this week. ETH, big gains. I'm telling you, players are rotating a little bit more out of BTC, and they're going into ETH. Following these additions and concurrent price rises, total assets under management and funds rose to $239 billion, the highest level since early August's all time. So, yo, everyone, we're still pushing the juice. And in fact, if we go to big institutional, oh, there you go. Now we're starting to see the institutional money flowing. And in fact, Sailor's got to feel good because what do you see? Big bars of orange up on the screen. Look at that. Big institutional BTC buying. So, is that going to continue this week with Jerome Powell and the Fed? By the way, live stream on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time is the announcement from the Fed. At 2:30, Jerome Powell takes the mic. So now who is this that's saying, yo, banks, buy this crypto, don't buy XRP? And what's the crypto? BNB breaks $929 all-time high, and CZ calls on banks to adopt Binance coin. So we've been hearing all this time about XRP and banks buying XRP and all that fun stuff. But now CZ, a very respected player in the crypto space, is telling banks, yo, forget XRP, buy BNB. And if you look at BNB, in fact, we're going to do that here because we cover news all across the crypto space. Look at BNB's meteoric roar here over the last year. Holy crap, everyone. And in fact, let's do this. Let's be fair and let's compare this to XRP. It doesn't look so good now, does it? That's because XRP is the salmon color and BNB is blue, and XRP is blowing the doors off of BNB right now. But we still cannot mistake the massive amount of growth between BNB that they've had this year. Starting it off at 553 and now at 920. XRP is still blowing the doors off of it. But it doesn't help that you have CZ saying, yo, banks, buy BNB. Now, the reason he's doing that is because we know CZ has tons of BNB, and he's still got tons of connections at BNB. BNB surged to a new all-time high at 929, driven by a 3% daily gain and an 8% increase over the past week. Binance founder CZ urged banks to integrate the exchange token into their operations, fueling optimism. Analysts project BNB could rally another 40% more high in 1,300. Stablecoin inflows and auto burns are driving strong momentum. The milestone marks BNB's continued upward momentum, with its market cap now surpassing UBS, the world's largest private bank. Analysts see further upside, with potential rising to 1,300. Zhao is saying institutional adoption signals growing ties between crypto and traditional finance. Says banks need to adopt BNB. As a small community member, I'm happy to help any bank integrate. Yo, so CZ is pimping BNB for banks. Who's pimping XRP for banks? Like I said, Sailor's pimping BTC. We've got Frankie pimping H-bar for all of us. CZ's pimping the BNB. And who's pimping XRP? We need someone to pimp it for us. Odds of U.S. recession in 12 months are uncomfortably high, warns Moody economist. Here's the deal with that. If Jerome leaves rates for too high, it's going to keep crushing the jobs market. That could lead us into a recession. That could hurt crypto more than the positive effects of lowering rates. Yeah, that's not good. The likelihood of a U.S. recession within the next year has risen to an uncomfortably high level. Oh, that sounds like a good plan for later. The firm's latest machine learning-based economic indicator places the probability of a downturn at 48%. Holy shit. Zandy noted while the figure remains just below the 50% recession threshold, it is significant given historical patterns. In past decades, whenever probabilities have approached or surpassed this level, economic contractions have often followed. Basically saying, look, whenever we get close to these markers, things have gotten bad afterwards. Since the 1960s, every spike above the mid-40 range has coincided or preceded a recession as reflected in the shaded periods in economic charts. Basically put to you this way, Jerome Powell has left rates so high for so long that he may have crushed businesses, jobs, housing, and everything. Yeah, his inaction may have screwed us. So even if we get a quarter, even if we get a 50, the damage may have already done. He may have left that bird in the oven way too long. No amount of gravy is making that meat moist. God, I hope my wife gets back to me today. Right now, we're looking at the greater crypto market. Fear and greed, we're at 51 out of 100, so we're neutral right now. CoinMarketCap index is sitting at 254.18. XRP's at 299. We'll take a look at the price right now because, yes, we did battle a little bit right here above that $3 mark, but we could not hold it. Highs got us to 318. We did get some support here on this most recent move with lows at 296. Again, battling that $3 mark. Volume up 15% this morning to $5.7 billion. XRP and the rest of the crypto market is going to move fairly sideways until the announcement on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. But it doesn't help when you have players out there like CZ, who's very respected. Whether you hate him or not, I can't stand CZ. He's very respected in the space. And CZ is like, yo, Banks, I want you to get involved with BNB. BNB is getting ready to touch all-time highs. And guess what, Banks? I'll even help you integrate. He's out there pimping it. Sailor's pimping BTC, but who's really pimping XRP? Every time I hear Brad talk, he keeps talking about RLUSD. So the reality is XRP still needs a savior. I mean, Sailor. And BNB's got theirs with CZ, even though my guy went to jail. XRP price, though, still strong at $3. The real juice, though, comes with the Fed, but more and more it looks like Jerome left the bird in the oven too long, and he may have cooked it a bit much, leading us to what, everyone? A recession. And I said at the end of the video I had a really sad announcement, so this is not going to be your typical outro, but unfortunately and sadly, on Saturday we had to put Leia down. For those of you that have been following the channel, you know that I brought her into the vet on Tuesday. She got really sick really quick. They gave her a whole bunch of medication. She just could not turn around from that part. Her red blood cell count was super low. Either way, I just wanted to celebrate some of her super accomplishments because y'all know that dogs are super important to me and my family. We have 3 rescues. Leia was our 4th dog. She was not a rescue. She was my wife's dog. And Leia and I, we hiked all over Colorado. We did all sorts of adventures. This was her at the top of Handy's Peak, which is 14,058 feet. You look at her grizzly and all that. Yeah, she was awesome. So she was my camping friend. She hunted with me in South Dakota winter. She was a great pheasant hunting dog. Like I said, she was a great camping dog. We explored. We did a lot of on-trail stuff. We did a lot of off-trail stuff. We explored the majority of the San Juans. Her and I took trips every year to the Colorado mountains, and we slept in our tent. We cuddled, and she was just a blast to have. And whenever I did videos in the room in here, she was always hanging out with me. She was always either sleeping along the chaise over here or along the back wall. She was always with me, like always with me. And the hard part about this was it just happened so fast. I mean, the trip that I took with her, and look how happy she was. See, and we did a lot of just bushwhacking. We just randomly just took trips. We went off trail. We just would pack our gear and we would just get lost in random places. And the hard part is this trip right here. When we did this trip, we did some more 14ers, and I actually had a carrier. We summited a few more mountains. This was later on in the trip. We summited a few more mountains, and I actually had a carrier back on down. And I actually took like 6 hours to carry her back down the mountains. I had to make a sling. I had to carry her across my body, and it was a really, really, really tough thing. She got hurt. There was a scree slide, and she slipped on the scree slide, and the rocks cut her legs up really bad. So I had to carry her back on. This was 2 years ago. And so I had to make a sling out of my hiking pole and my shirt. So I took off my shirt, made a sling, and I literally carried her 55-pound German Shepherd. I carried her 6 hours up a few peaks and then down. It was really, really tough, but that's actually what got me into ultra running, was because I had to 6 hours straight carry her and just like get through grueling conditions. And she taught me that like I can do more than what I thought. And it was really hard to do, but it was the right decision. And so it's been really tough over the weekend. I didn't want to say anything on Saturday or on Sunday because it was still too fresh. But yeah, it's really, really hard because dogs are a super, super huge part of our lives. And it's really, really sad for me. Like, even my dogs don't feel good. Like, you can tell they just been moping around the house. And like, whenever I leave like out the front door, you know, they just sit there. And like when I come back in, they just like sit there and they're looking like, well, is she coming? Is she there? So really sad day on Saturday. It was actually her 10th birthday too. So she made it to exactly 10 years old. Like I said, her and I had so much fun together, so many adventures. And We had her for like 9 years, 9 months. She was a huge part of our family. You know, one of our first 2 OG dogs. And like I said, I've taken her to the top of the world at some fascinating places out there. So she will obviously be missed. Choo choo what? Choo choo bitches. And of course, choo choo doggies.